right, here we go. It's a new year, new goals, new training, new people at the gym. Lots going on. Man, they picked the end of the year to do my wife's surgery, and she's recovering really, really well. We got the bandages off. The scarring looks great. She's up and around. She's moving. She's progressing really, really nicely. New training with the kids. We're training at this Muay Thai gym. We decided to cancel our membership at the boxing gym, and so far it's turned out to be a really, really good decision. The kids are having way, way, way more fun, and I'll be honest with you, I'm having a much better time too. These people are more chill. I found out something interesting today. So when we were doing training, and some people that I work with also trained at this gym. Iron workers, 433 local. So that's really cool. One of them I trained with tonight, and it's just super cool to see familiar faces. It makes training so much easier when you have somebody you can just like communicate with, and you can communicate like, hey, this is my skill level, or let's only just go this hard, or it's I don't know, it just makes it easier. Yesterday we were doing sparring drills, and there was 12 people in the class, and I would say good 6 or 7 of them were on par or less than or my level of knowledge, and 2 or 3 of them were really, really super advanced, and one of them was a professional fighter. And it's interesting, even though you're just doing really light sparring, they still slap you upside the head and it still hurts. So when I left training yesterday, I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit disheartened. I just felt beat up. I didn't say a word, but I was just thinking, like, man, what am I doing? It's just, you ever have the stark realization that you're not as good at something as you thought you were? There's like levels to this stuff. And I was feeling my age. I was actually feeling older than everybody. I was the oldest guy there, but I was also in really good shape comparatively. So, I had that going for me. They were all saying how amazed they were that I move as well as I do. And I'm like, Jesus, guys, I'm not dead yet. It's 50's not that old. But I was the oldest person in the class by at least 5 years. I think there was another like 45-year-old in there. But today was a lot of fun. It was nice seeing friendly faces, and you're just watching the kids go. They're having a blast. I didn't get the greatest footage because my cameraman let me down. The kids were filming everything but me. So I bribed my daughter today. I said, I'll give you $20 if you actually get good footage of me. So it would have been super cool. Like yesterday when I was sparring, I was like, this one guy just beating the crap out of me, and I did pull a couple of good moves that even I was surprised I was able to do. And I asked my kids, did you get that on film? And they're just sitting there drawing. I'm like, thanks. And then when he does film me, he films me standing there talking to someone. Like, okay, that's great. That's enthralling, That's gripping, riveting footage. People, you get to see me standing there talking. I could do that at home. Oh man, you ever wonder? Like, I don't know why I'm doing what I'm doing. What is the end game here? Like, it's one thing to train to stay in shape. We're powerlifters. I'm competitive, so I've always got that training. But the combat sports, like, why am I going so hard? What am I trying to accomplish? I'm training as if I'm going to fight. But as a 50-year-old, I don't know. I guess the headquarters, like they do a lot of fights at the facility we're at. They host them there. There's a ring in the middle of the gym, and it's one of the gyms that they host sanctioned meets at, or matches. I don't know when the next scheduled one is, but they make a big deal out of it. They close the gym down and they set up chairs all around it, and everybody comes in and bring their families. It's a whole to-do. So we're gonna obviously go and join them, but I guess there is a chance for me to participate. But unlike boxing, where I would go get sanctioned by the state of Nevada, and they could throw me in the ring with somebody, like appropriate, my weight and my age. With this, there's levels. So in order for they won't even let me participate unless I test. So I have to test and meet a certain criteria, and then I have to advance to an intermediate and advanced class, and then do those. So it's a lot like it's similar in the progression, like way back in the day when I used to take Taekwondo, where they would have belts and you kind of had to test to show aptitude. But unlike Taekwondo, which was points, you know, I don't know if you ever seen like the karate tournaments for the points tournaments where you would strike and then he would little flag up point and then you set up again. This is more like a boxing match or a Muay Thai match where you go at it for rounds in a certain amount of time. But in order to participate, you have to be able to show an aptitude, and I guess they do have belts or like these little sashes that they wear that designate certain levels of skill. And I'm still I'm still grouped with the beginners, obviously, even though I got, the coach was telling me, he's like, man, you move really well, you have really, really good hands, you hit really hard. I said, obviously you don't have the footwork. And he's like, until you get that down, you would obviously be with the beginners. But he says that he expects me to progress pretty quickly, at least to the intermediate. But then he cautioned me because he kind of said, it's like a careful what you wish for kind of thing, because they go a lot harder in those classes. And they move at a lot of faster pace, and there's a way more demanding cardio. Everything just gets stepped up a notch. But, I'm always excited for a challenge. It's like, you give me a challenge, I'm going to go do it. That brings me back to, like, why? What am I doing this for? Like, am I trying to kill myself? Like, here I'm training to compete, and I've always told you guys you can't serve two masters. You can't be an elite level powerlifter and train to be an elite level fighter. Or, even if you're not an elite level fighter, you can't train like that and expect to get good results from either of them. You'll really have to kind of hone in and focus on one. So, seeing as I'm going to compete on March 15th, and I am progressing so well in powerlifting, I am going to train Muay Thai, but I'm not going to go super, super hard. I'm not going to invest myself physically to that until I get this meet out of the way, and then depending on how that goes, that'll determine my next course of action, because I really love it. I love the camaraderie. I love the atmosphere. I love the training. It's just so much fun. I think I would have to drop about 20 pounds maybe. Right now, I'm 220 now, which makes me technically a heavyweight. But it's not really about the weight classes. It's more about my ability to move. Because right now everything feels heavy. It's like when I throw a roundhouse kick, my leg feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. And I know that if I drop down to 198, which is what I used to compete at, I'm just way, way, way more athletic. So it only makes sense to, maybe consider. It's tough because I really, really like the size that I am. I'm that guy that when you look in the mirror, I see this tiny little shriveled up boy that used to get picked on. But then I watch these videos and I'm like, wow, I'm actually a pretty big dude. And people tell me that all the time. I don't believe them. But then it's like, do I really want to give that up? Do I want to drop down? It's like, can I put my ego aside and, maybe slim down a little bit and kind of go like, maybe I'll look a little bit more like Jason Statham instead of, I don't know, whatever kind of monstrosity I've turned into. Yeah, I think that's the smart thing to do, if we're really lifting for longevity and overall health and well-being. Athleticism over the age of 50 probably would make sense to cut down. I don't know. I do have to say one thing. With my wife recovering from surgery, I've grossly underestimated or overestimated, which of the one is it, where I take her for granted and I don't realize how much work she does. Because I'll tell you what, taking care of this house has been, I feel like I am just not getting it done, boys. Man, wake up in the morning, do all her normal chores, then you gotta clean the kitchen, do the house, do the floors, do all that stuff. And I'd just rather go to work. I'll be honest with you. Just throw me on a construction site any day of the week. It's like I get to leave at the end of the day when they blow that whistle. And time to clock out. You just go home. You don't think about all that. And here at the house, it's like, I spent yesterday, I cleaned the kitchen, came out to the garage, farted around, went back in the house, and the kitchen was just as dirty as it was before I cleaned it. I'm like, what the hell did you guys do? How many, the whole sink's full of dishes? What did you eat? Man, I'll tell you. So it's been challenging. I'm just wore out. I don't know. So I just figured I'd just throw it in there that, baby, I really appreciate you and all the effort that you do keeping this house together, because we don't say it enough. You do a lot, and we miss you. We can't wait for you to get better. Yeah, okay. I got her some rock climbing stuff for Christmas, so she's gonna start doing that as soon as her body will let her, and then she'll get back into shape really fast. It'll be nice to see, because she used to be my training partner. That woman was ripped, and she's still in good shape, even with her not training because she got injured. Like, she still looks great, but she was, she's a gym rat just like I am. We train a lot differently. She prefers to do like machines and like kettlebell workouts, that kind of thing. The stuff you see, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, it sounds disparaging when I say like the type of stuff those people do, but those guys that work machines, those weirdos. I'm over there in the corner of the squat rack, but not everybody trains like us. Powerlifters are the weird ones. We're the ones in the corner, like, chewing on crayons and eating the chalk, and most of us. But I mean, a lot of powerlifters bring weights to the gym. They bring luggage. They look like they're homeless. You open up that suitcase, and the guy's like pulling bands and dumbbells and all sorts of contraptions out, and you're like, you're at a gym, dude. Like, the equipment here is not good enough for you. It's like, those are powerlifters. But no, it's just I miss going to the commercial gym. It's like, I could go. I have a membership. I could just go if I want to. But I find that if she's not with me and I'm not meeting anybody over there, I just don't have a reason to leave the house. And kind of got me locked in, and I miss getting out, which is why the Muay Thai is nice, because it forces me to get out and actually be with people. And I forgot, and they have a gym there too. I could actually work out there. I could probably stream too if I wanted to. But they don't even have enough plates. Like, I was looking at their squat rack, which is nice, and they have a bench, and they have a nice dumbbell set, and they've got a Smith machine, and it's a decent little gym. But you don't have enough 45s. Like, does anybody deadlift over 4 plates? Like, well, what's going on here? That probably sounded super condescending. It totally wasn't meant to. Like, I do not disparage anybody or any type of training, and I actually like doing all types of training, all different varieties. But I'm just trying to convey that we train differently, but it's still fun to go there with her. A lot of times, I will do her workouts just to take a break from the grueling grind that mine become, especially as I get closer to competition. Right now, I've just started my competition cycle. I got a week or two left of the conditioning phase, and I'll be moving into like a 6 to 8 week program, and then after that, I'll do like a peaking block. And I'm hoping, like, the way I'm feeling now, everything's moving very well, and I'm pushing a lot of weight. I think, if I could stay healthy and maybe not overdo it too much, just progress slowly, I'm in line, based on what I'm lifting now, to have the best competition of my life. And at the age of 50, like, to imagine, like, having, like, PRing every single lift. Like, I could do it. I really could. And how awesome would that be? Does that mean I keep competing, or does that mean I hang it up and go out, on a high note? It would be one of those. It's kind of a weird thing. It's not like basketball where you win the championship and then right off into the sunset, or you stay in decline and then tarnish your legacy. With powerlifting, you can just still continue to participate in the sport even if you don't train seriously. There's a lot of older lifters that just show up to lift for fun, just to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some of those guys are 70, 80 years old even. We had an 83-year-old competitor at the not this last meet, but the one before, and he didn't have great numbers, but it was still I think he still posted a world record for his age group. And that's just awesome. It's just awesome to see older cats still getting after it. And I asked Dan about his training, and he only trains like 3 months out of the year for powerlifting, and the rest of the time he just does regular just gym stuff, like just to keep in shape. I think that's great. So, just once a year you go at it hard for a couple of months, do your meet, and you're good. You're still there. You still see everybody. And a lot of those guys, they become referees, like that. They participate in the sport in a different way, or they become coaches. I would like to open up a gym. I think that'd be really cool to have my own team. And I don't know, the way the channel's been going, I feel like I'm in the works of formulating something. My wife's managing now, so she's behind the scenes. She's running everything. I got her set up as an administrator on the account. And we were talking about, like, some things that we could implement, because she's been getting a lot of women have been asking her about training advice, and I told her, with her background in physical therapy, and a lot of it is like injury stuff. There's HRT for women. My wife's not natty either. There is such thing as HRT for women, and a lot of women don't know about it. And she's been educating them. So there's an opportunity to, I think there's some value in being able to discuss those things for men and women, especially over the age of 40. So we're kind of evolving a little bit, especially as we start to grow in numbers. I don't know why my streams are doing so well. I have no idea why. My daughter, God bless her, she's 9 years old. She says, "Daddy, you're actually entertaining." I said, "Really? You think so?" She's like, "Yeah." She says, "You're a goofball sometimes." I'm like, "Well, yeah." She goes, "But you try to talk to everybody. That's so neat." I'm like, "Really? That's it? Just because I try to answer everybody that pops in I thought you're supposed to. Isn't that what the thing's there for?" So that's I guess my formula is I do a little bit of lifting and I try to talk to everybody in the stream. I don't know. It seems like it's fun. We have some really good conversations. I will say this, though. As much as I like to lean into the trolls, the guys that try to make fun of me or make me feel bad about myself as a human being, I usually try to have fun with it. And I've even gained some subscribers because of that. I don't take myself too seriously. I never have. I'm going to try not to. I mean, what's to take serious? But sometimes it does get to me a little. And I get to thinking, I'm like, what am I doing? It's like I'm basically getting online, and for 3 hours of my day, I'm signing up to take ritual abuse. Like, am I some sort of masochist? Am I a masochist? Do I enjoy abuse? I must on some level. Now, what I do enjoy is if somebody says something funny about me, whether it's the way I look or dress, and I like to say something funny back, and we get some humorous banter going. I enjoy that. Like, that's a good time. It's like when we were Marines back in the day, that's all we did was talk crap to each other, and that's how we communicated. So it kind of reminds me of that back in the day. But every once in a while I'll get a guy on there that I don't know. Like when they talk about, one of them made a comment about my daughter, and that really got under my skin. And it's like, I shouldn't let things like that bother me, but it's, there's just certain lines you shouldn't cross. And then from there, I was, I wasn't primed or mentally good to handle the stream. So I kind of lost my edge, and it became really unenjoyable, though, the last few minutes of that one. And I rewatched it, and I played it off really well. I looked like it didn't bother me whatsoever, but I'll be honest with you, I was just like, that would be a time, like, if I could, I'm watching a lot of the comments, a lot of videos, a lot of content in the lifting community, if you will, are these infantile egomaniacs that they talk about like fighting all the time, and they're like calling each other out, saying, "Meet me at my gym," and I'm just like, who are these people? Like, what grown men act like this? And a lot of the questions I get about, do you think you could kick so and so's butt? And we could joke about it and have a laugh, but I'm like, just because I train combat sports and I'm a power lifter, but it's like I'm just not that guy. I've never been that guy, and I don't think that doesn't make a man. Like, your ability to just beat people up is not a very. I don't want to say it's not a masculine trait. It's an aggressive trait, and it shows insecurity in my mind. It's like, if you're a strong, assertive man and you carry yourself well, and you're, we'll say, strong enough to not let things bother you to the point where you feel like you have to, I don't know, to me, the whole aggressive thing, all constantly threatening people, posturing, puffing your chest out, yelling and screaming, to me that screams insecurity. That screams like, I'm afraid of you, but I don't want you to think I am, so I'm going to yell and scream and act tough in the hopes that you will find me intimidating. It's like a puffer fish. You poke a puffer fish and it blows up and it's got spikes, right? That's all that is. Like, strong, assertive men just don't. That's not how we handle our problems. I pride myself on my conflict resolution skills, if anything. Like, my ability to reason and use my words to solve my problems is what I pride myself on. And I told my son, too, it's like, it's one thing to be able to defend yourself. If somebody ever touches you or really genuinely threatens you or the ones you love, it's your duty as a man to be able to protect them, and you need to be able to. And that's what we're all about. We're all about being able to handle yourself in a situation. And if that includes, fisticuffs or whatever, yeah, you need to be able to batter someone unrecognizable well, we're talking like a life-death situation where they're not giving you the option. Police aren't coming and you need to do something because it's you or him. That is completely different than you pushing people around and acting like a bully because you're not getting your way and you're an infantile egomaniac and you're yelling and screaming at everybody, and then insisting that if other men don't act like you, they have the problem. I'm thinking about like these like Wes Watson types, or like those strength cartel boys, or the clones that are popping up that are acting just like them, or the little infantile egomaniacs in the lifting community that are always like screaming how much stronger they are than everybody, and even though nobody's like talking about them or asking. It's like, I get these guys in my stream and he'll call me weak, okay, and then say I can press more than you, and I'm like, okay, and I'm like, well, okay, what's your point? There's a lot of people can do far stronger than me. Like, I don't understand how, like, how do you get to the point where you're not okay with yourself if you're not recognized as the strongest person in the room? Because that's not what powerlifting's about. I might happen to be an elite level powerlifter for a guy that's 50 years old, and I might be at the top of my weight class, but that doesn't define me as a man. And I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of powerlifters who are way, way, way stronger than me. And my lifts are mediocre by comparison, and I know they are. And like, I don't think it makes them any better, and I don't think any less of myself. I just think that we both like to lift weights, and I think that's good enough for me. You know what I mean? People are like, they ask me how much I bench, and they're like, "Oh, I can't bench that much," and I see they're getting down on themselves, and I'm like, "Bro, I don't care, right? Like, it shouldn't bother you. Like, you're at where you're at. Like, say you can only bench 225, like, that's fine. Nobody cares. Nobody here thinks less of you. We're all glad you're training to get stronger. That's all we give a shit about." But if you're one of those guys, I noticed certain individuals, like when people start to get strong, and if they start creeping up on their natural ability, they'll start calling them out and disparaging them online. And I'm like, wow, man. you don't see it. You don't see how insecure and infantile that makes you look. And they just don't. They have no self-awareness. It's really, really weird to me. And I'm trying to be the opposite of that. I'm trying to be the calm. I want to be the fun guy. Nobody wants to hang around that dude. You know what I mean? Could you imagine though, like if you actually had Wes Watson in your group right now, and you were hanging out with that guy, and all he's going to do is talk down to you because you don't have a $5,000 watch or a $200,000 car, which he doesn't own anyways. He's renting, and he's going to scream. He's wearing a man purse, and I can't say much about his skinny jeans because I wear those too. But I bought mine at Savers for $15, and he probably spent like $300 on his or more. You know what I mean? Like he bought ripped jeans. He bought damaged jeans for $400. I got mine used at Goodwill. It's like, what kind of car do you drive? I'm like, Chevy Sonic, but it's an RS. It's got a spoiler. Now, some of my comments are people ask, well, why do you keep bringing those guys up? And I'll tell you exactly why. Because I have a goal, and it's to purge the lifting community, if there is such a thing, the lifting corner of YouTube, from these fake gurus that are just ripping people off, selling, basic workout programs for thousands of dollars, saying that, I'm going to teach you how to be a man, I'm going to teach you how to be rich, and it's all stuff that you can get for free at a, local gym or a public library. I'm going to get rid of all that infantile egomaniac the worship of possessions. You're a man only based upon the amount of money you make or the kind of car you drive, and they don't have good family lives, they don't have good relationships, and they're actually horrible mentors. It's like they appeal to young men who maybe have problems dating or maybe were picked on. Those are my people. Were you the nerd in high school that got beat up because you like to play Dungeons and Dragons, or you collected comic books, or you were in the art club, or you like to play chess? Maybe you weren't that great at sports. Hey, you're my people. Like, all you gotta do is just start lifting weights, but that's just one tiny portion of it. Once you get physically in shape, then what do? For the longest time, when I was a young Marine, I would go to a bar, if you will, and I always get the cute girl, and she'd be sitting there smiling at me, and I'm like, oh, hey. And I would slide down, and I'd buy her a drink, and I'm all Rico Suave. And things would be going well for a minute, but then 3 or 4 minutes into the conversation, she starts getting really, really bored and looking for a way out of the conversation. And that kept happening. And I kept wondering, like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like, why do I keep getting these cute girls smiling at me, but then 10, 20 seconds into it, they're repulsed by my very being? Do I smell funny? I don't know. I showered. I wore cologne. I got this awesome shirt from Hot Topic. I'm happening. I'm cool. And then I realized, like, I had a desperation about me. I had the self-esteem issues. I didn't know how to talk to women. It's like I kept like talking about myself and trying to sell myself and telling them why they're blessed by my presence and how great I am. And it took me years to figure out, like, I was just a really insecure dude. And it's off-putting to women. And it didn't matter how big my muscles were or how bad I could fight. And I was always talking about how tough I was and how much ass I could kick. And I'm a Marine, don't you know? And the women hated that. And it took me a long time to realize I just need to be myself. And what am I? I'm a goofball. I like Dungeons and Dragons. I like comic books. I like painting Warhammer figurines. I love playing video games with Wes Watson. And you know what? I can also lift more than you, dude. I'm way stronger than that guy. And it's like he's got the image. Everything about him's fake. Nothing about him's real. He doesn't own his house. He doesn't own his cars. He doesn't even own the muscles that all of that is like, I am not a natural lifter. I didn't know if you knew that or not. But there's nothing about that guy that isn't like, he didn't earn any of that physique. It is all fake. You can just see the trend fumes coming off of him. He's got hypertension. He's colored red like a lobster. His veins are sticking out. That is like, that's horrendous PED abuse. And what's going to happen when that guy stops lifting? He's going to shrivel up and he's going to look like shit. he's talking about like guys with 10-inch arms and tits, and you can see he's got the like when he does all his videos, he's got the angle set up so his arm looks really big, and you can see his chest, and his nerves are pointy. That's gynecomastia forming. Like he's literally growing the boobs that he hates so much on other men. And it's like, that's not a guy you want to take any kind of advice from. You don't want to take lifting advice from him. You don't want to take life advice from him. And you can see his financial life's going down in flames because people are seeing through that. And he's just one example of many on the internet where it's just like these guys, like that guy that shoved Jeff Nippert. He's the same way. He's like, it's just this overly aggressive, no sense of humor, never serious. You can't take a joke. You can't say anything to them or about them or they snap. And I work with people like that in real life, and nobody wants to be around them. And it's just not. And they think that they are the epitome of manliness, like alpha male. I'm an alpha, or whatever. Like, even though that was scientifically disproven a long time ago, there's no such thing as alpha or beta. You know, even in the studies that showed an alpha wolf in a wolf pack, that has since been disproven largely. I mean, there is some structure there, and we could go into that. That's the kind of stuff I'm into. I'm a freaking science nerd. I'll talk to you about chemistry. I'll talk to you about biology. I'll talk to you about, like, the the music of the spheres. We're nerds. Nerds with muscles. That's what I'm all about. It's like, be yourself. Be okay with yourself, you know. The guys that didn't have dads growing up, or they're looking for, I get tons of young men asking me questions about life advice, and it's like, bro, I'm the last person you want to take life advice from. I can barely manage my own. You want good advice? Get a good woman who loves you for who you are and will take care of you, because if it was just me, I'd probably be homeless. I'd have been dead in a ditch a long time ago. So did I really accomplish all this? Yeah, I put the work in. That's what I did, is I have good discipline, and I have motivation, and I have a drive to succeed. And that drive was given to me by crippling self-esteem issues and being picked on as a kid and not having a good childhood. It's like, you wouldn't want to wish that on anybody, but what I can do is, like, help people that are also going through what I went through get to where I am for free. I want nothing in return except for to see you do better. That's all I'm asking for. So I want to get rid of all that bullshit from the internet and bring up the nerd community. Let's all paint Warhammer figurines together, goddammit. So you be okay with who you are. You collect My Little Pony. I collect My Little Pony. Hey, what's up? What do you got to say about it? You want to fight me? We do Muay Thai too. I don't know. I look at the jiu-jitsu class that I have at the gym, and those guys are like some of the biggest nerds I've ever met. They got like Coke bottle glasses, and they're all like math geniuses, and the guys that are straight A students, and they will maul you. It's a thinking man's sport. They're literally playing chess on the ground with each other. But you don't want to mess with those dudes. No siree. Oh man. And I think today I'm going to try to do a double live stream with a friend of mine. He's been wanting to do a collaborative stream, and I've been hesitant to, because he gets a lot of the same people in his comment sections that I've been trying to get away from for the last 3 or 4 years. So it's like, do I really want to talk to those guys and confront them? And it's like, yeah, maybe I should. Why not? So I think I'll be doing maybe bench press today. So if I do go live, it'll probably be in the neighborhood of 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that's about it. I think I've babbled on enough in this video. So until then, I love you guys, and I will see you on the battlefield.